Emmanuel, welcome to the Vermillion Unplugged. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, this is great. This is great. So I think if I remember right, I've seen you and I met you at the Global Friends here at Hillside, right?
Yep.
So before we get into this, what do you do?
Well, that's a very good opening conversation. So right now I work as a operation director for the Food in Vermillion, and I've been working for over a year now. So so I graduated last spring from in UST here, and I studied masters in public administration. And after I finished my program, I got an offer to start the job. So, and yeah, I am.
There you go. How long were you doing the school at USD?
So I was here for my master's program in public administration. So that took about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for 2 years, and
would you do the PhD or not?
Maybe not. But let's see how it goes, though.
Okay.
I can't say I won't say no, So, but let's just see how things goes. Then time will tell if I wanted to do it or not.
Yeah, because we're just talking about like 5 minutes ago,
right.
Because the school is, and like I was telling you, I only got a bachelor's, just 4 years,
right.
And it's in biology. Okay. And then I started working I work at the med school.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, so I used to work in a lab, and it was kind of cool. I liked it. Oh, this is fun. You're doing this,
Right.
experiments or whatever. And I was like, hey, maybe I should do that PhD thing. And then like I said before, I'm with all these students.
Right.
Some of them, they're like, it's not 4 years, it's like 5, 6, some 7 years. I'm like, oh, what's that? And then every day they're like tired, they can't sleep, they're studying and this and that. They're like, there's no vacation, like it's every day. Imagine that, like for 6, 7 years. I'm like, what? I don't
get to do that. You get to do that. I see a reason with that. While I was doing my master's program, it was fun. Being in a school, as I said earlier, being in a school environment is always fun. You have people, young adults. You can exchanging energies and all that. But coming to the fact where you have to, assignments, your project, your presentation, and all that comes with the school. It could have a toll on you, and so that's where the work is. So, but it's where that balance where you have to enjoy.
Now, how
do the work.
How did you get to USD?
Oh, interesting. So, I was I already left Nigeria about 2016, 2015. So I moved to Gambia. So I was living in the Gambia for 3 years, and it was a good time there. I worked as a teacher there, and I enjoyed. It was a different culture from Nigeria, though it's still in the western area of Africa. But I was there for 3 years. Enjoyed the time there. Well, they have similarities in terms of the weather and all that, and I lived there for. Then after trying to come to that agreement, like, okay, I need to further my education, then I had somebody who suggested like 4 schools to me, and I went to look at the programs they had, and I was still too more on public administration and all that. But all the schools that the person offered me, none of them had like public administration. So I checked SDSU. They didn't have public administration maybe at that time, and there's some schools in Minnesota too that I also checked, and I was like, okay, let me just go for that to check schools in South Dakota. And I saw USD, and I started reading information online, and I did my application. Then I got, it was a very good communication system they had in USD in terms of the communication with the international students outside the country, and they communicated with me, took me through the things I need to do and all that. So I started putting those things together and arranging them, the documents, my transcript and all for getting admission and applied. And And that was the only school I applied to. And I was offered the admission. I was like, oh, okay, what are the next thing to do? Trying to prepare to come for. And at that time, we were just getting out of the pandemic, which was a very stressful time for everybody. The lockdown, people were just getting out of lockdowns. So it's like a gradual process, and that fatigue was already setting into people. So it was a time for me to okay, let me see new experiences, because being at home for too long, I wasn't at the time I wasn't working because of everywhere was shut down. So I couldn't go to work. I wasn't working, and it had a mental, that mental stress it puts on you when you're home, not almost doing nothing, And at that time, that's when I got the admission to come to USD. So that was it. And that was why I found myself,
So, was it a big culture shock when you came over here, especially in the Midwest? Or, because I remember I talked with Clement and Chinonso about it.
Right.
And yeah, they said it was a little different.
Yeah, it was different.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, of course it was quite different in terms of, well, the obvious thing was the weather.
I'm sorry.
The obvious thing was the weather, because Nigeria, Gambia had just two weather systems. That is the dry season and the wet season.
Mm-hmm.
But coming to a 4-season environment, I've not gone through that kind of those seasons before, and having to experience the winter where seeing the snow for the first time, and enjoying that. I think that bliss, that first bliss you enjoy. Okay, this is what it is. It's different from what you've been accustomed to over the years. So I think it was a big difference.
See that. So man, I see this every episode. Everyone's gonna get tired. So I'm from, even though I was born in the U.S., so I'm not from South Dakota. I'm from Texas,
right?
And the weather there, the 4 seasons is way different. The summer's hot, it's really hot. Yeah. The fall is nice. Okay. Then the winter, it doesn't snow. Sometimes there'll be like ice, but it doesn't really snow. Maybe like there's a year, but it's never that fluffy snow. And then the spring is, it's nice. When we came here, same thing, like in 2020, like during the pandemic stuff,
right?
We saw the snow like for the first time. Yeah, and we're like fluffy, and it was big. Like it was snowing for like, I think like it went up all the way to like almost my knees, and I was like, "Whoa, this is nice." And then it kept snowing. Yeah, it kept snowing. it wouldn't stop. And then like I'm like, man, okay. And then you got a shovel, you can't go out. Oh, yes. And then like in January and February, I was like, oh, okay, it's
cold.
Like really cold. And like there was one time like, everything hurts. I got to cover up. And then like one time I couldn't breathe. I was like, and I was checking. I was like, am I okay?
You're fine.
Yeah. And then like I went inside the school. I was like, I could breathe. And it's the wind chill. I'm telling you, the weather is bad.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. February was one of the toughest months for me too, because at that time we were not getting a lot of snow, but it was super cold. Mm-hmm. It was you just have to gear up properly for the weather. So you can't just decide to go out like on a shirt, go on a like nowhere, no shirt, nothing. You have to just cover up, because I'm a lover of radio. And listen to radio, they give us this warning, like you could get a frostbite within 5 minutes and all that. I was like, oh, this is serious. Having frostbite within 5 minutes, that's no joke.
See, and then you could, because I talked to my mom about it, and she says, hey, is everything fine? I'm like, you know what? The heat in Texas is hot. It's really hot, right. But you could be outside. It's still fine. But here, like 5 minutes, you get frostbite, you could die.
Well, yes, exactly, right.
Yeah, and I'm telling them, like, I don't know how these people do it. And then, like, for some reason, I don't know what it is, but, like, if it's cold, let's say it even drops to, like, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius for everyone, I see people running, and they're, like, in shorts. I seen people walk without a shirt, and I'm like, I don't know how they do that. But I don't know how the weather is. These people are tough. But in the summer, I think the summer is beautiful.
It's
here.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yep. It's beautiful. It's summer. It's always good. Like you get the sun, you just enjoy that weather when it comes. Like okay, it's just the last 3 months of your time, the short time. Just enjoy the summer, and that's it. And you're going to a different weather entirely after that time. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and then the winters, even though I complain a lot about it being cold, it's just really cold. But like that December, like Christmas time, it does feel like Christmas, like in the movies. I'm like, oh, okay, this is nice. Even there, like it happens sometimes when there's like a big blizzard, and then like work is canceled, the school closes down, the city, and then what we do is okay, we're inside, let's watch some movies. It's nice. It's kind of relaxing sometimes. But when it's cold, like it's bad. All right, we need to change topic. So another thing I want to know from you. I like when I talk to people from different countries. So when I talk to Comanche, a lot of misconception a lot of people have is they think Africa all the countries in Africa is the same.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't think they're the same. They're Africa is huge.
Right.
It's huge. There's a difference. Like you were saying, you were in Nigeria first, and then you switched.
In Gambia.
Have you noticed a big difference between those countries when you went?
Yeah, it's a very different. It's a very different. First of all, the culture, it's different from what you get from Gambia in Nigeria. It's different. The languages are different, and the population too. What you get in Nigeria is different from what you get in Gambia. And having to expose to those two countries at that time, it was something, something to learn about. I'm a person that exposes myself to different cultures, see what it looks like, and see how you can learn from that, and see how this is what it's about, and that's the thing. That's a fun thing about life. So,
what languages do you speak?
So I speak. Nigeria speaks. It's a English speaking country.
Mm-hmm.
However, we have some also dialects, and Nigeria has over 300. Yes, over 300 languages, local languages. So, but we have three major languages. So you have the Yoruba, the Hausas, and the Igbos, and also that. And also they have a different culture too amongst those tribes. So it's it can be very different. The languages can be very different, and the people can be very different, even when they live in the same country.
Okay. And then, did you grow up in a city, or did you grow up in a rural place?
So I grew up in the big city, and it was a mob of about 3 million people.
Oh,
so it's quite one of the biggest city in Nigeria, and one of the oldest. History I've said that it's one of the oldest cities in Nigeria. So I lived there for most of my years, but I went to do my undergrad in a different, like 6 hours drive away from where I was born. So that was where I did my college, did my 4 years over there, studied international relations for a while, for 4 years there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there the one thing that I still remember when I was talking with Clemente is like, have you seen it? That like when they show, for some reason they show like pictures or videos or documentaries of Africa, they always show like the rural villages, the poverty and this and that. And I remember Clement saying it's like, right. Yeah, there's cities.
Yeah, that's true. It's
like that everywhere or different places.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's sometimes what the media represents or portrays. Showing that the Africans mostly are not educated, and they are kind of backward, and all those that represents African culture. Or you look at a different thing, and it's like, this conception is not right about these people, and it's like a misconception, as you said earlier. So those are some of the things I feel that it's more conspicuous, because there are some good roads, there are good places, good lovely environments that you will see located in Africa.
Yeah, just like in any other country, even like here in the States, you'll have like some good places and there's some neighborhoods that are like not that great. One thing that I am curious to, um, what have you noticed like the big differences between like the Nigerian culture versus the American culture? Have you noticed anything?
Oh yeah. So some of the culture, some of the I think when I came in, I noticed was some of the things like so in the African culture, there's a big reference to elderly people. So first of all, you don't call people by their first name. So in African culture, you don't call people by their first name, and like an older person, you don't call them by their first name. But coming to the US, and if you call people by their first name and call them hey, but it felt some of this very different from from what has been used to in Nigeria too.
Okay, so it would be their so like Dwayne.
Right.
What would we call him by his last name?
No, you call it by his last name. You call him. There's some names you call like another person.
Mhm.
You don't call him like uh, brother, and their names. You
Okay.
use like their brother. Like for instance, in my family, you don't find like siblings calling the younger one calling the older one by their names.
Mhm.
It's very hard to find in the Yoruba culture. It's more like so you just like oh brother this person. If the brother is an older person,
Mhm.
you use like oh brother Jimmy, brother sister, somebody older to you. You just call them by their first name. So when I came here and I have to work with different people, and it's like you have to call them by their first name. It felt like it felt like oh okay, this is it's a different culture, and that's what is different with the culture in one of the big one that I found.
Anything? Have you noticed anything different with the food?
With the food, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. For the first, yeah, the food was it was a big one because, okay, I've been to travel from Nigeria to Gambia and live in Gambia for 3 years. I was away from food also, but however, in Gambia there are some places you can get Nigerian food.
Mhm.
So it's which is you would get Nigerian food. So you won't really miss a lot of Nigerian food. Even when I was living in Gambia, I didn't really miss a lot of Nigerian food because I got access to Nigerian food there.
Mm.
So coming here, maybe the first 3 weeks, I was still trying to find my bearing around. Oh, how can I get Nigerian food and trying to mix the food that's available around you, But then I began to get information. Okay, if you go to Sea Falls, you go to Sioux City, you'll be able to find some Nigerian food. Though you might not be able to get everything you want, but the major ones, the popular ones, you will find them, you will get them. So those are one of the things that was kind of different.
Okay. What are some of the things that is not common? Like for example, if you go to Walmart here,
Right.
what are some ingredients that you can't find that you have to go to Sioux Falls or Sioux City?
So one is like I like pando yam. So it's made out of it's yam. You know yam, right?
Yeah.
So yam, it's pounded.
Okay.
So and we make a delicacy out of it. So I've pounded yam and maybe you want to make egusi soup. So egusi is made out of melon soup and vegetables. So I can't find that here.
Mhm.
I can't find yam. And also we have like a already processed yam that you can buy. You don't have to pound the yam. It has been processed to it's now just flour.
Mhm.
So you just using hot water to mix it on the stove. So you can't find it in Walmart. That's one of the big. I like that. I like it a lot, which I like to eat that. But I can't find it in Walmart. I can't find it around here, except I have to go to Sioux City or Sioux Falls to get.
Okay, that was one of the things also when we came up here. Since people don't know, I'm Mexican American, and Myra and my wife's Myra and my daughter, they're born in Mexico.
Okay.
So we eat a lot of Mexican food. Yeah, so when we came here, we go to Walmart, we go to Hy-Vee, but there's some stuff we can't find, especially like can't find for some reason like the chiles that we use. They always have. You'll see they have like most of the time jalapenos.
Yeah.
Which for us, I guess depends. It's not spicy enough, or they'll have habaneros.
Habanero, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that from Ivy a lot.
Yeah.
Habaneros a lot from Ivy.
Yeah, but we don't. Or my bad, we don't. in my family, we don't use that. So we use the one that's like in the middle of Serrano. So,
Okay.
but we go to, luckily in Sioux City, I mean, there's a bunch of Hispanic,
Community there.
yeah. So we found finally, but it kind of sucks that we have to drive all the way over there and there's nothing here. And then, but do you guys eat spicy food?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's one of it's in my culture. We eat a lot of spicy food. However, I have to stay because of my health. I have to stay away from spicy food. So lately, I've been staying away from spicy food. So it's in my family. Yes, it's a big. If it's not spicy enough, it's not spicy enough. That's it. It's like,
Okay.
it's not spicy. Please, can you make it? You have to make it spicy. That's where people enjoy it. And so that's it.
Okay, sweet. See, I know I'm not the only one that eats spicy food because we heard like Clement said he eats spicy food, and then there's someone I forgot. I don't know if they're from some part. I don't know if it's from North or South China. They eat spicy food, and like who is it? Like the people from Bangladesh. Yeah, they're eating spicy. And here, I feel like, hey, I mean, the food's fine. I like the food.
Let me tell you a story of what happened. So when I came in newly, I had a couple of friends I just met them, and we were just, we were hanging together. I'll go over to their house, and they were curious about Nigerian food and all that. So I was like, okay, let me make you some Nigerian food. So I went to their house. They were so open to it, and that's one of the things I like when I came in here. People were like open arms, People were trying to know you, trying to engage you, and So So I went to their house. They bought all they went to Walmart, bought few things they wanted. I told them to get. I bought them. So I went over to their house and I went to make the food for them.
Mm-hmm.
And this. I told them I get a heads up. I said this food is gonna be spicy. They said they want it spicy. I was like, okay. Are you sure you guys are ready for this spicy food? He's like, yeah, sure, let's do this. All right, okay. I made the food for them.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, when we're done with the food and they ate the food, they were looking red.
Oh, it was too spicy.
It was too spicy.
Really?
They were looking like, I was like, I told you guys, I gave you heads up on this before I made this. I was like, yeah, we like it. We've not had this before, but I think it's a one-time thing. I said, okay, sure. But they enjoyed the food. So I was like, oh, that's a very interesting way.
What made it spicy? Like, what were you using?
Yeah, so I used, it was habanero that I was able to get. So I got habanero, I got some bell pepper and some tomato. It wasn't too difficult to make.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was what made it very spicy. So it was the habanero that made it spicy for them, and that's what I would use. And also there's this pepper that we have in Nigeria. It's much grinded.
Mm-hmm.
It's much grinded pepper, and it's like it looks like powder, and it's very hot too.
Oh,
I can't find that here. I've never seen it here. I've never seen it. Anybody that is gonna have that pepper must have brought it from Nigeria. They must have put it in their luggage and said, I'm bringing it over, because even in seafoods, I've never found it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's kind of very different kind of grounded pepper.
Is there any places in Omaha, or have you ever checked?
I haven't checked in Omaha though.
Okay.
I feel like Omaha is like 2 hours away from here. And I'm like, okay, I can do seafoods, I can do Sicily, but Omaha, maybe.
You don't want to open up your own Nigerian restaurant here in Vermillion?
Oh, that's very interesting.
Tell me, is in Nigeria, is street food, is it popular?
Oh yes,
I knew it. Okay.
Oh yeah. So there's a popular name is called Buka.
Hmm?
So there's what we have called Buka, and it's a place like a small place, a small building,
mm-hmm.
where they have like different delicacies like amala, eba, and the different soups. So the different soups are they have like a big pot of hot soup in it, and it's super hot. It's, as you are seeing, it's right on the stove, and it's hot, and you can see the meat, you can see what you want. You can select the meat, you can look through the meat and boy, okay, I want this one, I want that one, I want this one. So it was that's what you get. Those kind of very, 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 and they are very, very sweet. Honestly, I enjoyed that. But what I told someone, I said, like, the next time I'm going to Nigeria, the first thing I want to go do is go to a buka to eat amala.
Oh man, we're so what we do sometimes, I think people know. So me and Myra sometimes we'll do like in the summer, we make tacos. We'll make it like, and so it's strange. So you see like those food trucks anywhere.
Yeah.
So what people don't know sometimes in Mexico, there's no food trucks. It's always in the street, in a cart, or someone puts it like their tables, and then they have a grill and that's
Show glass.
yeah,
something like that.
yeah, something. It's simple,
Yeah,
no
it's very
truck.
simple.
So that's what we do. Like yesterday, we were at the flower farm in Elk Point, and we're selling tacos.
Oh, great.
And I feel like people, I think they like it because you could see us prepare.
Exactly right.
Yeah, you can hear the chopping.
You see everything right in front of you.
Yeah, and you can see it. Myra makes the salsa, she makes the tortilla, she makes this, and we do this, and like you interact with people, and then I think that's what people like, and it's super strange because in Texas there's a lot of street food, but here there's not.
It's not,
Like
yeah.
a lot, especially I think this is what I think. I think in one day or one night, Vermillion should have like little, I don't know, it's like a street food
food, yeah.
international night. Like, hey, anyone, if you want to make whatever you want, sure, we'll have it
Keep it happy.
lined up because I want to try different stuff. And it's also kind of going to a restaurant's fine. We don't go out to eat that much, but it's kind of expensive.
Yeah, that's sure.
Yeah, but all right. Now going. See, we talked too much about
You're
food.
making me hungry, right?
I know. But let's talk about what you do because, like you say, you work at United Way or like the Feeding Vermillion.
Right.
How did you get your start on that?
Oh yeah, it's when I came in as a student, as an international student, I came in and I was trying to get settled. You don't have a lot of money because I have to pay for my tuition. So I was like, oh, how can I manage? And so a friend told me about the food pantry downtown. It was like you can go there and they can help you with some food and all that. So I was like, okay, sure, I went there and I was there for one time. The first time I was there, the first time I got there, I wasn't after the food. It was the first question that came to my mind was, how can I contribute? That was the first question. So I got there and there was somebody that was asking me questions like, oh, can you fill this form? I was like, do you guys take volunteers? They're like, sure, yeah, we need volunteers. I was like, can I get a form? He was like, sure, I can get you a form. And he got me the form. I filled the form. I was like, and I was like, okay, sure. I was like, he got me through the form. I was like, okay, what's your schedule like? So I was like, give me a time. Let me go look over my schedule and all of that. So I took the form, filled, and look at what my studies in school was like. And okay, I was like, okay, this day is a very good time. I can do just 2 hours a week. So I was like, sure, I can do that. I can, So I was like, well, sure, I can do that. And that's how I started. So I came in to get the food, but at the first time, I was just wanted to thinking like, oh, how can I be part of this? How can I contribute to this community? So I started it, and I started as a volunteer. So I volunteered when I was doing my program, I was volunteering. I was, doing little. It wasn't a lot of work. Talk to people, smile, just have a little chat with them, just small talk, having that small talk with people, and having chat, and help people put their food in their car. So you have some people who they need help. I can also help them with that. So I did that, and so after a year, the following summer, I was supposed to do an internship. So and I was like, okay, what can I do? I started applying for internship in different places. I was applying, getting different calls, getting the interviews, and so I was like, but I haven't gotten anything concrete yet. So I was like, okay, how can I? So I was supposed to travel to Philadelphia. So at that time, the food pantry has a Katie Beam was the executive director of the food pantry. So I spoke to her and I was like, oh, I have to travel. but however, I'm looking for the internship. I'm going for an internship. I need to do an internship for my program, which is also it comes with a credit, so it's required. So I was like, so I talked to her and I was like, I have to travel. Anytime if I get an internship from there, I would just go and resume my internship because at that time I was already getting close to the time when I'm supposed to start with the internship. So she was like, she just was like, I think they might need an internship here, but I'll get back to you on that. So it was like, okay, sure, no problem. So I was like, so I traveled to Philadelphia. I traveled to Philadelphia for that time, and she just gave me a call like, would you be interested in doing an internship here in food pantry? I was like, sure, I'll do that. I'd like to come to, I've been there for over a year already as a volunteer. And I was like, you sure you can? I was like, sure, I'll come. So I had to, cut short my visits to Philadelphia. So I came in and resumed my internship. So I started working as internship there. So learning the operation of the food pantry, learning about the welcome table, and everything is like, everything is all in the building. Welcome table, the backpack, everything. So the CCC is a hub. I see it as a hub where so you have the rocks, you have Salvation Army, you have the food pantry, you have the welcome table. So it's like a hub of different services. So like, yeah, sure. So I came in and I started my internship then. And I did my internship for 3 months, got the experience, how it takes to run, what it takes to run food pantry and all that. So I was like, sure, that's a good time to learn. So the school resumed, and I continued my education for the next year. And so I was about to finish my program when I was still looking, after you finish a program, I have to work for. So should I backtrack a little bit? Because as an international student, when you come to the US and you finish a program, you get something called the OPT, and that gives you a 1 year to work in your field of study. So, and I did my program in public administration, and I focus more on nonprofits. So I was like, oh, this is a very good place to learn the ropes of nonprofit. It gives you a practical knowledge of what it takes to run a nonprofit and all that. So I was like, sure, well, this is a very good place to. Can I get the opportunity? So the question that came to me was like, can I get the opportunity to learn at that time? So, and first of all, I got the opportunity to do my internship for 3 months over there. To do my internship, I saw okay, this is what it looks like, because nonprofit and in the US and in Nigeria, they're very different.
They are?
Yeah, they're very different. So most of the nonprofits, we don't even call them in Nigeria, we don't call them nonprofit, we call them NGOs. So, and it's kind of very different. In Nigeria, it's tilted, one of the non-profit is tilted more on children, women, violence against women, and abuse against women, and children like orphans. That is where the non-profit most are around circles more in Nigeria. But when I came to the US, I saw different kind of non-profits. Non-profits for children, for women, for people. People who don't have houses, who are homeless. You have even non-profit for animals, like the habitat of human habitat. Is it human habitat?
Yeah, with yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So when I came in, I was like, there are so many non-profits that they are like set up for different reasons, which I haven't seen in Nigeria. So it gives me that widening of like, oh, this makes sense. Because, so one of the things that I was like, okay, the government, because, let me backtrack a little bit. I have so many stories.
It's cool.
So when I did my undergrad, I did my international relations. I was hoping to be a career, have a career in like a career diplomat, looking at foreign policies, looking at setting up foreign trades, international business, and on all those negotiations, with different countries. That was when I was really tilting to, and I was like, but the question was like, but the government is supposed to provide some basic provisions to the people, but can the government provide all these things? Can they supply them to the people? No. So that's why you have the private sector, and you have the public sector. Even the private sector cannot still cover everything. There's still some gaps in the economy, and that is where the non-profit comes in. So they fill those gaps, and they are able to still help the economy, provide jobs for people, and they are still meeting people's needs. So you can see how the non-profit sector is so important in the community or in the country. So I was like, okay, I think I should begin to further my education. Let me know more about these things, because it gives me a better horizon about how governmental assistance is not reaching everybody, but non-profit are also meeting that needs too. So now let me now go back to the story what I was trying to say. So I'm just trying to explain. So I was able to, so I did after I finished my internship, then I looked at my graduating on the spring of 2023. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do? What are the opportunities, jobs, trying to apply for jobs and all that. And at that time, the director of the food pantry, which is Katie Beam, was also, I think she was also scaling to different sectors. She was moving to somewhere else. And I was like, would you be interested? And I was like, well, let's do the interview. So we did the interview. Did my interview, talked about what it looks like if I'm interested. Having done my, did my internship with the food pantry for 3 months. I was a volunteer for over 2 years. So it gives me, I already have like an idea of what it takes to run. So after I finished my program, I was like, sure, would you mind? So I started my job as the operation director for the Vermillion.
Sweet. Yeah. And then, do you like it?
Oh, sure. I enjoy it. I enjoy it every day. The sweet thing about the job is that you get to interact with different people, and just having that short conversation with people, you see how it's meeting needs, how you're meeting needs of people. People just say, yeah, I don't need this food for too long, but when I needed it the most, I got the need. People might not use the food pantry for too long, and people might use it so it depends. But however, it's still people. It's meeting people's needs, and with that, it's a very, 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 I would say, very, very important part of Vermillion community in helping people.
I think the food pantry, I think it's an excellent thing, because when we, like I said, when we got here that first year, it was just me working. Myra couldn't work yet, and I have Victoria, and it's it's kind of hard, especially now I got a family and I only got one job, and that's when I heard about the food pantry, and I was like, man, I don't know, should we go or should not? And then we went. I think we only went either the whole year or just a few months, because we would go like once a month.
Right.
And I looked, and I was, oh snap, you could grab. I didn't know they had all this stuff, especially like. Or for us, it was pretty good. Like you have the vegetables, the fruit, or there's like frozen meat. I'm like, oh, we could grab that. Like, yeah, you grab it. And I'm like, oh, but they say just grab what you need. And I remember thinking that. I'm like, just grab what you need. Don't grab like everything. No, just grab what we need. Something that could help. Like if we saw like the potatoes, the bananas, if we saw rice or beans, like, if we could grab that, let's grab that. And then I remember. doing that. We were doing that, and then in my head, I was like, man, I'm at a food pantry. I don't, because it hurts my pride. I'm like, man, I feel like I don't want help. I don't like asking for help, but it's really good. And then I remember I said, hey, don't worry, we're not gonna be here forever. It's just some help. And finally we're at the point where we don't need to. But I'm like, hey, that food pantry helped a lot,
Right.
especially for Victoria, especially getting like food. So I really like what you guys do. And then thinking about that, like the government assistance stuff, like I don't know my view on it because I have a weird view. I don't know if it's like a pride thing or like, being like you want to provide, be the man of the house, because I don't like asking too much for help.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but it's fine having just that little bit of help, but not relying on it. It's there if you need it, and then hopefully you could, step up.
Sets you for
Yeah, that's my view on it. I like it. Is there any like what have you learned from working there?
Oh, so one of the big takeaways that I've learned is that there's a lot of food waste in the U.S.
That is something that Myra says a lot too. She's noticed that.
Food waste in the U.S. And can you imagine how like 30 to 40% of food actually ends up in the landfill every year?
That much?
Yes. It amounts to over 97 billion pounds of food ends up on the landfill. That's a lot of food.
Why do we waste so much food? Have you seen?
So there's so many reasons, and it's something that I guess should. I know there are a lot of organizations that's working to see that it's brought down to the barest minimum. So number one reason is overproduction.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of overproduction of food, and there's some the inefficiency ways of distributing the food. So, like for instance, you have farmers who has planted and doesn't have when they've gotten the crops that they've needed, and they don't have anywhere to drop the food that's on the farm, you just leave it there. There's some other things also too. There's some like supermarkets that they have all their shelves is filled up, and this food are already dated, and by the time they look at the date, it's like, oh, it's almost getting time. So and they're like, what are we going to do? It goes to the waste.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like producers, manufacturers, farmers are producing a lot, but it's not too well distributed. It's not reaching, and it's not like there's every county in the U.S. according to Feeding America says that every county in the U.S. experiences food insecurity.
Oh,
Yes, it says 100% of counties in the U.S. experiences food insecurity. So, but the numbers might be different.
Okay.
So some counties might experience a lot of food insecurity. Some might not experience it almost like 2% or 3%. But in every county, you still find people who are still food insecure.
Okay.
So that's one of the big ones I've come to one of the big lessons I've come to.
I think also I've heard that in restaurants here that, if they don't, by the end of the night, that if the food they gotta throw it away. And I don't know if they say like you can't just, I think it depends where, but they can't just give it away because something about laws.
Yeah, that's a different kind of laws that can hold them liable. So that's liability, and most of the supermarkets are trying to avoid those liabilities. So if somebody gets that food and gets sick, they can be sued, and they have to pay a lot of money for that person, for whatever they are sued for. So it's a way of trying to save themselves from being sued and having to pay an hefty fine.
Oh, okay.
So
now what you guys do, is it a little bit different? Because you guys, I've seen it that like for example, if I remember it right, like Cafe Brulee, they'll like donate some of their food,
Right.
Walmart and all of them, right? How do they do? Because like if I went to the food pantry and got something and I got sick, I can't sue y'all, right? Like it's
So,
totally different.
so,
I hope not. I wouldn't do that.
so there's what we call there's a call called the Good Samaritan law
Hmm?
that states that you cannot hold somebody who is donating food in good faith. So if the person is donating food in good faith, you can't hold them liable against that food. So that is what protects people when they're donating food to the food pantry.
Mm.
So, for instance, within Vermillion here, so we get our donations from Walmart, Ivy, Coffee Cup, Come and Go, Pump and Pack,
Mhm.
and so these are the restaurant and some of the restaurants within Cafe, as you said, Cafe Boulet and some other different restaurants here. So we get all the donation and you cannot hold them liable because all the food they are donating is in good faith and they are still in good shape.
Okay.
So
they're not. Oh yeah, because you guys don't sell it.
we know we don't sell them. It's not supposed to be sold. So it's donating those food in order for people to have access to them.
What happens to the food that? So if I remember right, like for example, Walmart, they have like let's say they have fruits or vegetables that it's about to expire. They donate to y'all,
Right.
but what happens if people don't grab it? Does it go bad and then you guys have to like throw some of that stuff away?
So that's why when you come to the food pantry, those perishable goods are one of the that goes pretty fast.
Okay, cool.
Because it's not so people come to the food pantry once a month and they have a certain amount of food they can get.
Yeah.
So a household of one gets 10 items, a household of two gets 20 items. But when it comes to like perishable goods or perishable items, they can get as much as they want, they need. So people can go and grab those vegetables as much as they want it. So it goes pretty fast. Honestly, I can tell you that when we get those vegetables from those different stores, it goes pretty fast.
Okay, that's good.
It goes pretty fast.
Okay, that's good. I didn't know if it like. Yeah, I think you're right. Because it's what would we grab? I remember. So I know bananas was a big thing they had there, and then there was like potatoes. I need to go back. I remember going there when I did the interview with John.
Okay.
Yeah, I went past there, and that's where I started.
So,
Yeah. I remember the freezers though.
The freezers, we have a freezer where it's all,
yeah, and
perishable goes into, so people can go and grab as much as they need, as you said. So grab as much as they need. So we hardly find waste with those perishable goods.
Okay.
Because
but
food pantry is a busy place.
No, it's good. I like how you guys are doing, and also the food there. Like you guys, it's not like I don't think it's a misconception, but I don't know if people think, oh, it's a food pantry, it's probably everything expired. No, there's some good stuff, even if it's in like boxes or bags or like in the freezer. Like it's not like you guys are, oh yeah, here's this rotten stuff people could grab. No, they're really good.
So and that's something about the volunteers that we have. When we get this food from the different stores or different donations, those food they look through those food to see which one are good before they go on the shelf. Because also you can't just get the donation and put them right on the shelf. It has to be look at the quality. Is it good for people? If it's rotten, then it has to be wasted. It has to go into the dump. But most of our food that we get, it's still good. But there are some times that we find the rotten ones, but which is not put on the shelf.
Okay. What is can anyone donate?
Yeah, anybody can donate, but also there's some donations that we can take and some donations we cannot take.
Okay. Because I was thinking, like sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Like when we sell for example, our tacos, our food, we'll have like, let's say we have like leftover ingredients, like leftover onions, cilantro, or maybe we have like a few packets of tortillas, and then sometimes we'll have like the meat, but it's been cooked already. Could some of those stuff be donated or same thing?
So now you talked about the last one I talked about, which is the meat.
Uh-huh.
So the meat is one of the things that we have in fine line.
Okay.
that we cannot take. So for the meat, if it is not inspected, so most of the meats that we have in the store, they are all, inspect it's checked and inspected in the facility where it's been done and before it's been put on the shelf. So that's one kind of things also, especially for the meat. If it's something, if it's not inspected, we will not take that.
Okay.
So especially for the meat, we will not take them.
Okay. What about vegetables and all that?
So vegetables, yeah, we'll take, if it's homegrown, sure, we'll take that. We'll take the vegetables, we'll take them.
And then like cans, all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll take them.
Okay, but the meat. Well, no, that makes sense because meat could be dangerous. Okay.
You need to know.
Okay, I get it. Now we're about to run out of time, but I do want to also ask another thing. So not recently, but I've heard that Clay County has a very high poverty rate.
That's true.
I've been asking people. I'm like, do you know why?
That's a very good question. Action why? So for me, ever since I've been here, so the population comprises of students, mostly students. You have families, single families. You have families with children. You have senior who have retired, and they are fixed on a fixed income. And you have people who are also disabled. They can't do work. They are so this chain of people, or the people that comprises the Vermillion community itself. So for instance, let's look at the students. The students are also, well, I think I don't know if it's true. They said that the students are like they are kind of the broke people.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Society. So,
yeah.
So of course, so students are just still trying to find a way to pay their tuition. They're trying to find food, trying to pay for their living expenses. So it comes with a different response. It comes with a lot of financial burden for students. So that's why you like, okay, it makes sense that students their income is not as much as in a more industrial environment where you don't have students, where you have a lot of factories, you have a lot of manufacturing places where the income is above the average. So in Vermillion here, we can count the number of industry that's in Vermillion here. It's really pretty. I would say a small community. It's still a very. Should I use the word small community? Let me say like
it is small. Yeah, it is. It is.
But if you compare it to places that has a higher income average income, you will see that the poverty level is quite low out there.
Okay. So
you can see that that's one of the obvious reasons. But I think because of the last census that the census U.S. statistics of Bureau of Statistics that released that numbers. I don't know what they used parameters they used to come to that conclusion that Vermillion is also, part of the poverty is high.
Okay. Have you guys done a comparison with like, what's that play? Brookings?
So Brookings also has much. It's a bigger play in terms of population. It has a much bigger population. It has much bigger industries and companies. So you will see that, and their income is also much higher than what you have here in Vermillion. So for me, as a person and seeing the numbers, these are one of the indicators I would say that, okay, this is why it's different here in Vermillion than it's different in Brookings.
Okay. So like if, for example, maybe it's more complicated, but like in Vermillion, if there was more jobs like in industry or manufacturing and all that, there's more jobs and they were a little more higher paying, the poverty rate should lower quite a bit, right?
Right, exactly. So that's one of the things. If you have more paying jobs, so there are a lot of jobs around.
Yeah.
But are they high paying jobs? So that's the question. So if they pay more, I'm very sure the poverty level that the indices would not be as high as that.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. All right. You want to open up a manufacturing?
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Let's do this. We got this. All right. So now we're ready. I think we are out of time, but I'll give you the last words, or if you want to give any shout outs or anything, any last things you want to say, man?
Oh yeah, I would give shout out to everyone who has helped me. Came into a different place. Having come into a different place where you have no family, you have nobody, and you just come in to do your studies, and you feel part of the community. You feel welcome to the community. I want to say thank you to everyone, and my appreciation goes to everyone who has helped me through the way, and Katie Beam, Kelsey, John, the people I work with on a day-to-day basis. They get me going. We have that little chat every day, and it's like, oh, you can do this, you can do this. That's like, okay. So it helps you, gather that momentum to want to go for more in life. So it's a big one for me.
Sweet.
Yeah. And also the feeding Vermillion. Also we really rely a lot on volunteers. So if anybody wants to volunteer, has some time, they want to just contribute a little bit in the community, we are open to volunteers too, volunteer opportunities also too. And I would say that's for my story, that was one of the ways I was able to get engaged with the community, and to learn to see people, to have that know people, where they are, and that's one of the things that has given me that opportunity. So I'm just also extending a hand to people too.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I want to thank you so much for being on the show, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, for having me here.
Sweet.
It's been a great time.